Joining us now on NDTV, CS Santosh himself. Santosh, thanks so much for talking to NDTV. Firstly, tell us honestly, during the 2-week race, under the scorching heat and the cold conditions, did you reach one of those moments when you said to yourself, this is it, I can't take it anymore?
Well, I think I had a couple of moments like that because the race, particularly, as you know, it's really long. And I had so many, obviously in a race like that, you will have instances where situations get really, really hard and you start doubting yourself. But never for once did I imagine that I'd ever want to stop doing what I was doing. And I knew that I had to make the finish. So no matter how hard things got, I always knew that, because when I went into the Dakar, I knew for those 2 weeks, I was ready to suffer, like for those 2 weeks, I was prepared to have the hardest 2 weeks of my life. So that was the attitude that I went in with to the Dakar.
Right. Santosh, you were thousands of miles away racing, far removed from what's happening back home. But people here were following your progress very, very closely. Were you surprised then with the level of interest for the Dakar Rally right here in India?
I think it's strange because when I went to the Dakar, I didn't know what the reaction was going to be like. And just every day when I was at the Dakar, I heard stories about how people in India were following me, and I couldn't believe the overwhelming support that I've got back home. I think going into the Dakar, I never really expected all these people to actually get behind me and root for me, and I think me being there, and it kind of took off in a way that I never imagined. But I think it's been great overall, and I couldn't have asked for anything better.
Right. Now, the noticeable difference between you and the other riders was the lack of support from sponsors from your own country. Some Indian companies were sponsoring foreign teams, but not you. How did that make you feel, and do you see this changing in the future?
I think, that's a good question. I think I need to have support at this level. And you see, when you see other riders from other countries, they're always backed by companies from their countries, and I think in India we kind of lack that, and it was surprising for a lot of people in the rally to see that I didn't have the support that they would have expected me to have, especially coming from India. So I think there is a gap and there's a void there, but hopefully now that I'm back in the Dakar and I've gotten the kind of response that I've got now, I think for the next Dakar, I think we should be able to do things a lot better.
All right, we wish you all the best for that. But finally, before I let you go, in all the pain and hard work, were there any moments during the race that made you laugh, ironical or comical situations?
Yeah, the funniest thing was on the last day. The last day was the shortest day of the Dakar, and it was more like a photo op where you'd wear your new clothes and you would have like millions of spectators on the stage, and they would take pictures, and you would just pretty much come in and finish the Dakar, and that was it. But the moment we started the last stage, I think halfway into it, I think about 70 kilometers into the stage, it started to rain. And especially on this stage, when it rains, the soil is like clay. And I tell you, it was really funny because all of us was so muddy and dirty, and we all dropped our bikes, and I was stuck in the mud. And I couldn't believe that on the last day of the Dakar, when it was supposed to be the easiest stage, I was having the hardest time trying to make the finish. And I think it's one of those things where you think it's over, but it's not really over, So I think that was something that took me by surprise.
All right, CS Santosh, we'll leave it at that. Thanks so much for talking to NDTV. You truly are a path breaker.